Hey teachers! I'm really excited to share what I'm teaching today with all of you. I am a virtual educator. I work for the U.S. State Department's English language programs, and I teach large groups of students online. So I want to show you some of the engaging tools that I'm using and hopefully give you some inspiration to use these tools in your own classroom. Let me walk you through a lesson plan that I'll be teaching today. Okay, let's get started. The base of the lesson plan is in Google Sheets, and I decided to use Google Sheets today just because I want to make sure everyone is participating, and I can easily look at the group of students, send them the link, the editable link to the sheet, and they can all write at the same time and add their comments and contribute to the class discussion. It's an amazing share tool. I have used slides, I have used docs, I've used a little bit of everything, and today I'm going to be trying Sheets. So a lot of times when I'm out walking my dog, I'll listen to webinars to help get ideas and just brainstorm different strategies and different ways that I can improve my teaching practice. And this is where I got the inspiration for this particular lesson plan, listening to a webinar on the American English Facebook. And this is their Teacher's Corner. And yesterday I was listening to a great webinar and training about, it was a live that they did about critical creativity in action with these cards they generated. And so I would, encourage you to follow this Facebook page, and then also they upload their videos to YouTube. But these are the cards that they talk about in the webinar, and they talk about how to use these cards in the classroom, what is critical creativity, and they also kind of show you how you could use it in music or in different areas like writing or reading. They link everything to Bloom's taxonomy. A playlist of life, and it talks about how you could think about a certain theme and then have the class generate a playlist or a certain related to a certain piece of reading, for example. So everyone is contributing, and you really do learn about the students' interests, their musical interests, what they want to talk about. So let's look at this lesson plan and how I'm going to carry it out in the online classroom. And just to situate this lesson plan, it falls within a unit about important milestones in life. And in previous lessons, we have looked at learning how to ride a bike, first job, and today we'll be looking at graduation ceremony. In previous lessons, I've used Genially to organize and scaffold the lessons. It's a really cool tool. You can click on different links. For example, this might take you to some vocabulary cards that we looked at in previous lessons. And I love using Genially. I think it's a great tool. So that's just kind of to tell you where this lesson falls. And yeah, some of the things I've done in the previous lesson. Okay. First of all, I will be sharing this with the students, and all of them will be editors. That will allow them to write in the document. So I'll click here and just make sure that everyone in the class can edit, and I'll give them the link. That's really important to make it a little bit more interactive. Then the learning objective is linked to the Google Slides presentation. And in this presentation, I do map out what we're doing in the class. And I do this because I'm working with pre-service teachers, and I really like to make everything very clear so that it's a way of modeling for them how to teach their students in the future as well. So I make the objective clear. I'll have a student read the objective. I will go through the materials that we'll be using, and this is to specify how can you link technology into your lesson. So I want to also inspire them in that way. And then I do give them a timeline just because I think in terms of neuroscience and all that we know about the brain and learning, it's really important to give them a kind of agenda so that they know what to expect in the class, okay? So I do start with this Justin Bieber and Ed Sheeran song. I did poll them in the WhatsApp group to see, is this something that they listen to? Do they like these musicians? And the majority of them said yes. So the lesson kind of started in What's Up today. So this is the warm-up to get their brain switched over to English. It's a fun way to get started, and it's a activity that Florencia gave me at TESOL Spain. I went to her workshop on music in the classroom. So I love what she's come up with here. We go through these true or false questions, and then during the video, I might stop at certain points and just double check. Did you say true or did you say false? What did you see? Is it actually being carried out or not? So I think I've already tried this out with a number of groups. And if we go back to this, then to the milestones presentation, we're going to do a vocabulary matching activity where we'll go over these words that are in the reading and then we'll match them with the definitions. Then we're going to be doing a reading. We're going to read about a girl who graduates. I selected this highly relatable text because the protagonist shares many similarities to the students in the class. Many of them are first graduates of a teacher education program in their families, so they can see themselves in the text. After that, we'll go back to the sheet then, and then we will respond. Each student will choose from a drop-down menu of a milestone in their life in the Google Sheet. They might choose their first car, for example, or they might choose learning to ride a bike. I'll also be showing them how to add another option to the drop-down menu. So they could add another item like first trip abroad or something like that. And then they could color code that and add it to the list and apply to all. Then they can add the name of the song here that really they associate with that milestone in their life. And then they could choose a reason for, selecting this song. And this is just to really give them a lot of support. These are students who speak English at an A2 level. Sometimes they can't think of reasons. And like I said, if they want to add another reason, they could. If they like the rhythm of the move of the dance song, if it's a good song to dance to, something like that, they could add to that. They're going to add a link to the YouTube content, for example. And then how does the song make you feel with an emoji? So they may say excited and then put a little emoji face next to that, kind of paste it in. Is from some of these options. And they use those icons to kind of define the key understandings or the key learnings from the classroom. So this is a more visual exit slip, and then they're going to insert that into the Google Sheets. So here you can just go up to insert image, for example, insert image into cell, and they will choose that image and insert it here. And then I will call on them and say, what is one thing you learned in the class today? And they can use some of those visuals to help them explain their key findings. This is the lesson plan. I think I've shared most everything with you. The only thing that I wanted to mention was that in the reading, there's a moment where the song, We Are the Champions, is mentioned because that's the song that the girl plays during her graduation ceremony. Then I have this ready to go on YouTube. So I'm going to be playing that song at that particular moment. And yeah, one thing I learned from my PhD advisor, Gloria Ladson-Billings, was whenever she had audiovisual material, it was always just right on point. She was so prepared. Everything was like lined up, So I think oftentimes when you're teaching online, it can be easy to fall into the trap of, okay, let me search for this now, and let me pull this window up. And when you're pulling those things up, you can lose a lot of students. So reflecting back on the lesson, I taught it today, and I want to show you a few things that didn't go so well. So I actually prepared this whiteboard in Zoom beforehand with these questions about the story, some comprehension questions, so everyone could contribute and write something. Some compare and contrast questions, higher order thinking, and also this question like, when will you graduate? What song would you play at your graduation? This question tended to be way too advanced for them. And what happened was I prepared 4 pages. I duplicated for each of the groups so that I could go in and it wouldn't be too chaotic. When I went in and opened the whiteboard in Zoom, this is what I got. Like, everyone was directed to page 1. And so it ended up being a complete chaotic mess of ideas. And, it just, I don't know if the students weren't seeing me directing them to page 2 so that they could start on a clean slate every class. It ended up just being like a mess. So another really important part of teaching in the 21st century is social emotional learning. So starting with an entry slip instead of an exit slip can be a useful way to gain that sort of instant connection and connect and say, like, how are you feeling today? And so this is a Google form that I sent them at the very in the first 2 minutes of class, and I wanted to see how they're doing. Okay, we went over the list of emotions, they chose one, and then also what are you looking forward to in the class today? This was kind of getting them ready for what we would be doing today. And these are the results that I got. So it was really interesting. It's a useful way to get some data and also give them even more choice. Some of them added bored or hungry, tired. Okay, so it's a great way to build rapport, connect with students, see what they're feeling, see what they're excited about. And actually, this really surprised me. I thought none of them would really say that they were interested in improving their communication skills in English, but many of them did. So that's great. Well, here are some key reflections after this lesson. The first thing is on a technological end, I'd still use Google Jamboard as a whiteboard. Secondly, I would make the reading passage relatable and culturally relevant. Also, I would populate the form, any form that you're using, whether it be docs or sheets, with the student names in advance so they know exactly where to write. This also helps with taking attendance and seeing who is actively participating in the class. And fourthly, connect social emotional learning to the lesson, especially at the very beginning of the class.